Now, let's look at how we're going to calculate the predetermined overhead rate and manufacturing overhead apply. So as you know that manufacturing overhead include the electricity that we use in the factory, the depreciation of the equipment that we use in the factory, the utility expenses that we have in the factory. Now, these costs normally we only know it at the end of the period. It means the manufacturing overhead that actually incur. But if we want to wait for the end of the period to know the manufacturing overhead actually incur, it will be too late to know how much does it cost for the job. So the managerial accountant, they will do in a different way. At the beginning of the accounting period, they will calculate the predetermined overhead rate. Okay, how to find the predetermined overhead rate? We take the estimated total overhead cost divided by estimated activity base. Okay, and that will give us a predetermined overhead rate. Now, what is the estimated activity base? Activity base is mean the activity that the managerial accountant think is can influence significantly to the manufacturing overhead. Okay, we call it activity base. So there are three activity base that we have here: direct labor hours, machine hours, and direct labor costs. So you have to read the question, which one is the activity base for a certain job? Okay, so we're going to take estimated overhead cost divided by estimated activity base, and that will give us predetermined overhead rate. Now, during the period, we're going to find the manufacturing overhead apply. How to find the manufacturing overhead apply? We're going to take the predetermined overhead rate that we have here times the actual activity base. Actual activity base again is the actual direct labor hour, actual machine hours, or actual direct labor cost. It depends. Okay. Um, and then you have the manufacturing overhead apply. Okay. Actual and then you have manufacturing overhead apply. After you have manufacturing overhead apply, then at the end of the accounting period, you're going to compare the manufacturing overhead that you apply and manufacturing overhead that is actually incurred. If the manufacturing overhead that apply is less than the manufacturing overhead that actually incur, you will have an under apply. And the adjusting entry for the under apply will be debit cost of goods sold and credit manufacturing overhead. Credit. Okay, credit. And if the manufacturing overhead apply is more than manufacturing overhead incur, we're going to have over apply. So the adjusting entry will be debit manufacturing overhead and credit cost of goods sold. So let's look at the manufacturing overhead account here. We have actual manufacturing overhead. This is on the left side. And on the right side, we have apply manufacturing overhead. Remember the journal entry when we apply manufacturing overhead? We debit work in process and credit um, manufacturing overhead. So it says credit here. So if apply is, is less than manufacturing overhead that incur, so we will debit cost of goods sold, credit manufacturing overhead. If apply is more than manufacturing overhead incur, we're going to debit manufacturing overhead and credit cost of goods sold. All right. Thank you.